Gators.
Okay. I was just checking to see if you were listening.
From Destrehan, Louisiana. Hold on a second. Hey, guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay? Thank you.
Momentum, excitement, energy. They say all this stuff, and you know what they mean, but it doesn't describe what you mean. It's just sort of out there.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
I was just worried about, listening to, all your guys' rap poison.
Welcome to Sideline Judgment. Here are your hosts, Sergio and Tyler.
Welcome to Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And today, Tyler, we are previewing everything for Week 5 of the 2021 college football season. We'll talk about our Gators. We will talk about the massive slate of games this week, Tyler. And we will get to our 2-point conversion games as well. But as always, if you would like access to the napkin, the exclusive Sideline Judgment gambling picks for the week, go ahead and send your email to sidelinejudgment@gmail.com. That is judgment with an E. And I will put you on the mailing list, and you will be receiving the napkin this Friday in your email, which is today, the day you're listening to this podcast. So go ahead and check your email. You will have the napkin there. Tyler, let's talk about the Gators. Number 10th ranked Gators are taking on Kentucky. They're heading to the grocery store. It's a 6 o'clock Eastern kickoff on ESPN. What do we want to see? What do we think is happening in this game?
Well, what I think is going to happen is that Kentucky is going to get to a really hot start, a really emotional hot start, really early.
We're thinking the same.
1 or 2 touchdowns.
Thinking the same.
Will Levis is going to connect on a deep ball to Wan'Dale Robinson for a touchdown. It's going to be the end of the world. Emory Jones is going to throw an interception, and it's going to look bad in the first quarter. Is what I think is going to happen. Genuinely, I genuinely think that is what's going to happen. It's going to look bad for the Gators in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I do, however, believe ultimately Florida will probably win the game.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Clearly we're going to have to mute the group chats and Twitter at the beginning of the game. Will we win in a manner that is sufficient for the general Florida Gators fan base at the end of the game? Or will there be more questions and how we're going to beat Georgia that way afterwards?
Probably more the second, just because I know the fan base of which I dwell.
Yes.
And the reality is that Anthony Richardson will probably not play, which would mean that no matter what happens, it will be unsatisfying, because people would just be like, we would have won more with AR. We would have won with AR, or we would lose worse with it. We would lose not as bad with AR to anything. And that's okay. Maybe it's true, but it doesn't really do us any help to think about it like that. I think with the running game being the way it is, and being, even when we're down from a time perspective, Florida can still rely on their running game and run their kind of base. Florida has never really needed to, so far, even when they're down, run anything but their base offense. So I think that knowing that will be helpful. That would help. This game's probably going to go by shorter because both teams really like to run the ball.
Yeah.
I am a little worried about the defense in this game, just because Kentucky has a way when they're at home of really hitting big plays on this team.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is as good as the Kentucky teams we've seen in the years past.
Right.
This is kind of an average Kentucky team. So now from an offensive perspective, I think Emory Jones will play fine. I'm definitely expecting him to throw a pick on his first true SEC road start. He will definitely throw a pick at some point, in my opinion. And that's okay. I think Florida will ultimately win the game because they will outlast and out-talent the Kentucky Wildcats.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to be pretty. I just really don't think people are going to be satisfied when it's over. Luckily, Vanderbilt's the week after. So,
right. And I think to your ugly winning point, I agree, because I think this game is going to be decided in the trenches on both sides of the ball. I think Kentucky likes to run the football, and our defensive line is definitely the best unit of our defense. I think we're going to be able to cause some disruption. I think we're going to be able to get in the backfield, get some stops in that way. And on the other side of the ball, I do think that this offensive line is the best offensive line we've seen in a few years. And I think they're going to be able to get some blockage. And I think that Malik Davis and Damian Pierce and Naquan Wright are going to be able to run a lot. And I think there's going to be a lot of designed runs with Emory. I think we're going to see Anthony Richardson for the first time in a couple weeks this game, and it's going to be a lot of designed run. Maybe they bring him in to do the play action and throw the deep ball because, he's got a cannon of an arm. Stuff like that. So for me, the game is going to be decided in the trenches, and I think that this team is capable of winning this football game very comfortably after they pull ahead. You know what I mean? I do think it's going to be a rough start because it is Emory's first true road start in the SEC. The grocery store is not to be taken lightly. I call it that because it's Kroger Field. I want to clarify that. I've given it that nickname. It's Kroger Field, but I'm calling it the grocery store. Good. Now that that's established, we'll keep going forward. Tough environment to play, as we saw. That's the last time. The last time we were here, Felipe Franks got his leg.
The course of Gator history was changed forever the last time we played in this stadium.
It's true. So, I think it'll be different. I think it'll be more of a running game plan like we've talked about before. And, I think the Gators will win. Hopefully the secondary can eliminate those couple explosive plays that we think that Kentucky can pull off. And that's how I feel. So I'll take the Gators, but like you, slow start.
It's not going to be a pretty game. It's just not going to be a pretty game. Because I just know we've done this dance too many times.
We have.
It is not easy for Florida to win in this environment because this is Kentucky's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's I'm not saying that as a diss. That's just fact. Mm-hmm. Kentucky puts a lot into this game, and they've only won it once in the last 30-something years.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think that was the best thing to happen to this program. That loss.
I agree. Mark Stoops is a Hall of Fame Kentucky. For Kentucky, Mark Stoops is probably one of the greatest coaches they've ever had now.
He's
because of that.
He might be the second best coach after Bear Bryant.
I can't really argue that. I can't look
right. Not exaggerating there. So, all right. So ugly game. Guess that's what we got to look forward to, huh?
Yay!
Speaking of rough and tough and line of scrimmage play and ugly football, that's going to be good to watch. 5 wide, Tyler. You are going to start off this week. The first game. If you're not up for game day this Saturday, this first game is going to just smack you in the face and say, "Get up, get out of bed, you lazy son of a gun." Nice. The number 8 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks travel to Athens to take on the number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs in a top 10 matchup of SEC teams. It is a noon kickoff. Noon. This is a top 10 SEC matchup kicking off at noon. And it is on ESPN. Tyler, you pick first. Who do you have in this game?
Look, y'all. That really got you, didn't it?
It did. It did get me. I'm sorry.
Look, y'all. You know where I stand from position with Georgia Bulldogs. You know where I stand on my personal feelings towards them.
Uh-huh.
And I don't ever condone letting that get in the way of the way I pick games. So I'm not going to do that.
Oh, I thought you were going to do it.
So with my head, I'm going to pick the Arkansas Razorbacks.
So, Riddle, entertain me for a second.
Okay.
In a world where Sam Pittman was the former
offensive
line coach. Yes, but I said entertain me for a second.
Okay.
In a world where Sam Pittman, the former offensive line coach from Georgia, was passed over by every program that had openings over the past few years, and he landed on his feet in Fayetteville, is recruiting his tail off, is dominating the state of Arkansas again, is able to keep recruits home in one of the most talent-rich states in the country. I still don't think it's good enough to beat this Georgia defense, because this Georgia defense is, dude, it's incredible. This Georgia defense, in order to beat this Georgia defense, you have to have a game plan customized to this game, of which I believe there might be 3 or 4 coaches in the country that can do it. Saban, Mullen,
There's 2 others out there. You don't
there's
need
a couple.
to,
There's got to be a couple others out there, but that's what I believe. I really do. This Georgia defense is incredible. Now, I like what I've seen out of this Arkansas defense. They are physical. They are getting after the quarterback. They are establishing themselves. What I want to look out for in this football game is, can the Arkansas defense disrupt the Georgia offense enough for them to stay in the game? If they can do that through 4 quarters, Arkansas has a chance. But I do think, especially, we don't know the status of KJ Jefferson. We don't know if he's going to be fully healthy and cleared to play in this game. And because of that unsureness, recording on Tuesday night, I'm not sure. I'd rather go with Georgia.
Wow.
I am with you. I am doing this with my head. I'm not doing this with my heart. I hope we're both wrong and Arkansas blows them out. I really do.
What do you say both wrong? I picked Arkansas.
You said Georgia.
I said Arkansas.
Oh,
that's
I'm
why
bugging.
I asked. That's why I asked. Did you hear what I said? Because I said, "Look, I did a whole thing where I'm like, I'm going to pick with my head instead of my heart. So I'm going to pick with my head. I'm picking Arkansas."
Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I'm so
what
sorry.
What the hell, man?
I went on that entire speech.
Like, I agreed with you the
misheard
entire time. I'm like, wow, coward.
I'm so sorry.
So before you so rudely cut me off, before I could explain why I picked Arkansas earlier, because you assumed I was just going to pick Georgia.
I really didn't. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired. I'm so
sorry.
sorry.
I'm going to talk about why I think Arkansas can win this game from an actual strategic standpoint. Sergio.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Look,
I'm sorry.
Georgia beat Clemson first game of the season. I think we can all agree that does not really mean that much anymore.
Throw it out the window.
They have looked okay. They've looked great, honestly. But who have they played?
Vanderbilt. I don't know what their cupcake
they played
was.
South Carolina. They beat up on South Carolina.
And South Carolina.
But in a way, it wasn't really that impressive to me. JT Daniels has played like 1 quarter since that Georgia game.
Mm-hmm.
And that was against Vanderbilt. So I would totally see Georgia winning here, but I'm going to go with the momentum that comes with Arkansas. I'm going to go with a team that can match them up on the line of scrimmage, because I feel like Sam Pittman can do that. And I'm going to bet right now on KJ Jefferson coming back and being able to play full, because I do think if he's able to play, he is in a better rhythm than JT Daniels is in. And again, we talked about it before. JT Daniels did not really, he's fine. He's probably one of the better ones that they've had. I mean, he could arguably be more productive of a passer than Jake Fromm. Not from a place in the program history standpoint. I'm talking about from a matchup standpoint.
Right.
But he hasn't played much really at all since Clemson, and he wasn't even really that good. They didn't score an offensive touchdown in that game. I'm going with Arkansas because I'm going to ride the momentum, even though it's on a road environment, unless because Sam Pittman, Sergio, who doesn't listen to his podcast co-host.
Sorry. I'm going to blame that on Zencaster and the audio delay that sometimes happens.
That's why I double checked. It was you did hear that I said Arkansas. I was going for the switcheroo, which is what you did. You just didn't even hear mine.
I didn't hear it. I'm so sorry, dude. I feel horrendous right now. I'm so sorry.
Never just assume that I agree with you on Georgia.
Can I though?
You should. You did, and
I did, and it bit me in the butt. You're all right. I want to publicly, but this is like when your parents fight, listeners. This is how it must feel. Tyler and I out here having our first legitimate argument on the podcast, and it's solely because I didn't listen to him, and I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I just feel I feel like I'm not seen. I'm
not seen. Something that I know for a fact we agree on is the level of talent in the Cincinnati secondary. Can we agree on that for sure?
Yeah, more
Absolutely.
so the level of swag, because none of them wear double digits.
As Tyler said, because I am listening, do not think that you can just go up against a secondary that wears all single-digit numbers and come out the same way you came in. It's not happening, Tyler. It's not happening. You know it. I know it. The people know it. Does Notre Dame know that? Great question. We don't know. Cincinnati, Notre Dame, 2:30 Eastern on NBC. I cannot believe that I'm going to be heavily emotionally invested in a Notre Dame football game, but I will be heavily invested in this Notre Dame football game. I'm picking Cincinnati because I believe Cincinnati to be the better team. They have the better quarterback. Desmond Ridder is better than...
Undoubted. You can't dispute that.
Right. He's better than whoever the backup is right now, who we don't know. He might get the start, whatever. And I think he's better than Jack Cohn on one ankle or on both healthy ankles. I just think he's better. Defensively, Notre Dame last year is not the Notre Dame of this year. Cincinnati of last year is the Cincinnati of this year, only better. They've got the same experience, or they've got more experience, I should say. The secondary are playing fantastic and looking good doing it. I really do think Cincinnati can go into South Bend and win this football game. I truly believe it. I think Luke Fickell is going to put on a coaching clinic. He's going to be able to find ways to defensively make it difficult for whoever the quarterback is for Notre Dame. Give me Cincinnati. Put some respect on my Bearcats.
All right. Are you listening to what I'm about to say? Are you actually
loud and clear?
Okay, are you listening to me?
I'm going to put the microphone down.
Okay. Just put both hands on your headphones to make sure you can hear this. All right. To quote you, Sergio de la Espriella, you got me messed up if you think Jack Cohn is throwing on a secondary that all wears single-digit numbers. Give me Cincinnati Bearcats. I don't care about anything else.
That's fantastic. I apologize for the echoes on my clap. My microphone was literally down and just sound bounced everywhere. Yeah, Tyler, we are unified in this one. We are in agreement. Can I please read the text message that I sent to you? I also sent it to friend of the podcast, Kevin Borba, Longhorn Wire's Texas Longhorn correspondent. Let me pull it up. I am scrolling. Let's see. All right, here we go. Can't wait for the Notre Dame has turned it around stories this week, only for them to turn into Notre Dame was never really that good after Cincinnati beats them next week. I said that on Saturday. I'm saying it on Tuesday here. It will be uploaded on Friday in your ears, listeners. Remember that phrase when Cincinnati wins this football game and how the national narrative changes about what Cincinnati is. Because if you would have told us last season, what did we say last season or in the offseason? Okay, yeah, Cincinnati had a great year last year, but next year they're going to get really tested. They go on the road to Indiana and Notre Dame. If they can win those games, they're for sure in the playoff conversation. My, look how the goalposts have moved. Color me shocked. Cincinnati needs to go out and put a statement. Make a statement. Make a statement. Win this football game. Win this football game decisively. I don't know if it's not going to be a blowout, but win this football game. Did you know that they're a 1.5 point favorite?
I did not.
Notre Dame is a home dog. It's 1.5 points, which is not a lot. It's basically a pick 'em.
Basically a toss up then.
But Vegas is respecting them.
Yeah.
Vegas looked at the secondary and went, "Oh, there's no way we can make Notre Dame a favorite with Jack Cohn at quarterback." No, I can't do it. Can't do it. So, I'm so glad I'm on the Cincinnati hype train. Next up, we have Ole Miss taking on Alabama, the 3:30 CBS game of the week. You were picking first.
I'm picking first.
I am passing the baton.
Okay. So, I'm trying to say this loud and clear.
We get it. I'm sorry. Jeez.
I just can't believe that you robbed me of my big switcheroo moment just to have your own.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to title this episode Week 5 preview, and Sergio is sorry.
So, Ole Miss is traveling to face Alabama. Alabama's second huge test of the year. And Ole Miss's really big first huge test of the year. Alabama looks good. They look like Alabama, but they look like one of the weaker, still coming into shape versions of Alabama. Ole Miss has looked great. I took a swing with the Arkansas pick, going for a bit of the underdog, the unconventional SEC West team. And you know what? I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to pick Ole Miss. I'm actually going to pick Ole Miss to go in there and to just Lane Kiffin. They have a revenge game, throw all over Alabama. Matt Corral and those wide receivers coming into sync. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I think that team can do it. If there's any team in the country, any program that can just win unconventional games against Alabama, that's not Auburn. It's Ole Miss. I realized as I said that's just Auburn. But
I would argue that's not Gus Malzahn.
There you go. That's better. I'm going to take Ole Miss just because, I know I'm behind in the 5-wide 2-point conversion, but I can't let that affect the way that I think. And maybe this is stupid. Both of these picks are stupid, but bet you I'll hit on one of them. And I think I'm going to go with Ole Miss because I like what I've seen out of, Matt Corral and that group. It's hard for me now that Lane Kiffin's there and it's not against Louisville when Lane Kiffin wasn't even calling the plays. Mm-hmm. It's really hard for me to see them bottling up Ole Miss that much.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a fun game.
Fun it will indeed. Tyler, I want you to think of a world.
Jesus Christ.
I want you to think of a world where Alabama loses to Ole Miss, Georgia goes to number 1 in the country because they beat Arkansas, and then Florida takes down the number 1 team in the country in Jacksonville.
I'd be down for that. I'd be really down for that.
And for that not for that reason alone, but that is a nice reason. I would like for you to put an S next to the T because I'm also taking Ole Miss in this football game.
Oh no, we're both going against Alabama. This is not good.
But here's the thing. Let's explain. Last year, the Ole Miss Bama game was like a 7-point game, and it was nowhere near.
Ole Miss team was better, and that Ole Miss team was way worse.
Yes, we have come back to the middle in terms of Bama kind of regressing a bit towards the mean, and Ole Miss ascending up to where they want to be. And we said this: if there's one team that can beat Alabama before the season, it was Ole Miss. Now, after what Florida showed against Alabama, and they came within 2 points, I really think that Lane Kiffin's offense should just kind of go. First of all, bet the over. I don't care what the number is. Bet the over. This game there's 100 points being scored in this game, some way or another. And I think Kiffin can do it, dude. I really do.
Yeah, and he's had a week off to prepare.
And Kiffin has had a week off, and he's been able to look to see what worked with Florida. The one benefit is that this game is in Tuscaloosa. So
if this game was in Oxford, it would be really interesting.
If this game was in Oxford, I'd be rushing to the window at the sports book.
But Ole Miss has won in Tuscaloosa before, and Lane Kiffin's a better coach than all of those coaches.
Correct, and this is a worse Alabama team than those Alabama teams.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Genuinely, I believe so. It's gonna be fun. Number 21 Baylor going up against number 19 Oklahoma State. So this is a top 25 matchup. We are obligated to put this in the 5-wide. 7 p.m. on ESPN2. I'm going to be honest, I'm not the most excited about this football game because A, the Gator game is going to be on at the same time, and B, of all of the games in 5-wide, I'm not as excited, but I do want to see Baylor's defense, how they go up and they hold up against a Mike Gundy coached offense, because we know that Mike Gundy likes to do a little bit of experimentation, likes to do some kind of stuff. I don't fully trust Spencer Sanders. I don't fully believe in Oklahoma State. I think Baylor moves to 5-0 here. I'm going to take Baylor in a defensive matchup, and I think they go on the road to Stillwater, and people are looking next week going, Baylor could make the Big 12 title game, because as we said, the Big 12 is wide open this season. So
I'm going to agree with you on that. I think Baylor's also winning this game because Baylor's been a very quiet 4-0. You know,
the quietest of 4-0s.
What?
The quietest of 4-0s.
And Oklahoma State's been, fine. I still hold to what we said last week before the game against Kansas State and much of my way I consider them. Oklahoma State could win this game, but I'm going to go. But they had a big win last week, so I feel like maybe Baylor's prime. And Baylor had a big win last week too. But I think I'm going to swing it in Baylor's favor this time. Right. I like what I'm seeing out of this team.
Me too. And it's very much Dave Aranda's philosophy, like identities. Like you can tell he's the coach of this team. They're good defensively. Offensively, they're doing just enough to get by, and they're really relying on their defense. It's Frank Beamer. It's Beamer ball light in a way, where how Frank Beamer would do defense and special teams as a way to carry his offense when he didn't have Michael Vick. And Baylor's kind of like a light down, watered down version of that right now. And it's kind of fun to watch. I'm excited to have this be the second screen because I want to be able to, see what happens in that sense. So Baylor, Oklahoma State, we both pick Baylor. And the last 5-wide game is an SEC matchup that in other years could potentially host College Game Day. This year, it's kind of an afterthought. It's the number 22 ranked Auburn Tigers taking on LSU. 9 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. It's right after the Gator game. Don't have to change the channel. Tyler, you pick first. Who do you have in this game?
All right. Listen. These teams are interesting to me. We've talked at length this year about LSU and how weird they are and how much every win Coach O needs. It's just so bad because the schedule is bad. And Auburn is all over the place because it's Auburn. And given that I feel like Bo Nix might start again, and I don't know. Ultimately, it comes down to the fact that I'm not really sure. Like, I could totally see both teams winning it because, like, I feel like Auburn, top to bottom, this year is a better football team.
I agree.
They are Auburn. And that doesn't mean squat. Like, end of the day, I still think Auburn will have a better season than LSU, but they could lose this game so easily because it's LSU. So what it comes down to is the fact that ever since the 90s, no Auburn or LSU game has been won by the visitor. So I'm going to go with LSU.
Yeah, you can go ahead and put me down for LSU as well. And for me, it's more of a different principle. Like, yes, no road team has won in the past 10 years. But when you look at their schedule going forward, from what I saw last week, I think they're a better team than we thought at the beginning of the season. I still don't think they're a fantastic team, but they're still 3-1. You know what I mean? They're still 3-1. There's still wins to be had here. I think they beat Auburn next week. The week after that, they go to the grocery store. I think they win that game as well, and they go into the Florida game at home. 2, 3, 4, 5-1. But then after that, I think they lose to Florida. I think they lose to Ole Miss. I think they lose to Alabama. I think they'll lose to Arkansas. So they'll be 5-1, and then they'll drop down to 5-4. I think the wins have to come at some point, and I think Auburn at home is probably the right recipe for success there.
Of their big games, this is the one that they could probably most likely win.
Exactly. So I'll also take LSU. So. All right, that's it for 5-wide. Let's move over to 2-point conversion. Tyler, for me, it's simple. I already know what I want.
I knew it. I knew you'd pick this.
Come on, dude. I've done it every year. I've done it every single year this game is played. It is Shula Bowl week. FAU is taking on FIU at FAU Stadium. I have tickets to the game. I will be going to the game. I'll probably stay. I will. I probably, if you were here, I'd take you, but you were not here, Hollywood Tyler. And so I will be going to the game, and I'll probably stay till about halftime because I want to watch the Gator game. And if I'm being honest, FIU is not very good this year, and FAU looks like a good group of 5 football team. Give me FAU over FIU in the Shula Bowl. I put my faith in the Owls. I don't put my faith in Willie Taggart. I put my faith in the Owls. Let's clarify that statement.
All right.
That's my 2-point. It's an emotional pick, I know, but just be thankful that my emotional.
It's okay.
Be thankful that my emotional picks aren't like Ohio State over Akron. Like easy layup games.
Yeah.
I think I'll get the 2 points, but.
Alas. Oh yeah, I'm sure you do. All right, my turn. A lot of interesting like smaller games this week as opposed to the 5-wide that we picked. Michigan, Wisconsin's a big one. Tennessee, Missouri is interesting. Pitt, Georgia Tech really tempts me.
Oh,
that really tempts me.
That is a sideline judgment game if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it really tempts me, but because it's Pitt and Georgia Tech, I'm terrified of picking it because I have no freaking clue, and I need these 2 points.
Yeah, that could be a 35-34 shootout, or that could be a 10-7 game that's won on a scoop and score. Like, who knows what happens there?
So also some interesting Boston College versus Clemson is super interesting because that is a game where you're going to really see like Clemson needs to win it to stay ranked.
Yeah.
If Clemson goes unranked, that'd be crazy to me. Washington versus Oregon State is very interesting because Washington, while more talented, missing the offense that Oregon State has. Arizona State,
fresh off a win against USC, Oregon State,
for real. Or Arizona State, UCLA. It's going to be a fun one. But I actually think I am going to pick a West Coast game.
Okay,
but I'm going to actually pick one that I think you'd be interested in, Sergio.
Oh,
I'm going to pick somebody's favorite college fantasy quarterback. I'm going to pick the Nevada Wolfpack, who are going up against the Boise State Broncos.
Oh,
I'm going to pick the Nevada Wolfpack to beat Boise State behind the arms and legs of Carson Strong.
I love this pick for you. I think it's a fantastic pick. I think people who have kind of dropped in on college football kind of think that Boise State is still the juggernaut that they once were. And while they're still a good football team, they're just not at that level right now. Nevada seems like the team in the Mountain West right now, or at least in their division. And it's them and Fresno State, in my opinion. And it looks fun. I like that. And speaking of, in the last episode, we talked about how during the Florida bye week, we may have to do some draft conversation. Carson Strong looking good from a draft perspective. Looking good.
Also, weekly Florida State check-in. They play Syracuse this week.
At home or in the?
I think it's at home. Syracuse, who is 3-1, by the way.
I was gonna say, is Dino Babers on a save my job
it's
revenge
not a flashy year, but it's not a bad year for Syracuse so far. They're 3-1, so they could win this game.
They could. Interesting, to say the least. But man, could you imagine Florida State going 0-5?
That'd be so tough. That's why I didn't want to pick it, because I'm like, I'd love to pick Syracuse over FSU for the lulls, but like, what it would take for Florida State to go 0-5, I'm not sure if I'm willing to believe in it until I see it.
I know.
Like,
Me too. And I would love to believe it, and I would love to see it, but I just can't.
0-5 is so difficult to accomplish. Like,
I know, dude. I know.
It's like Syracuse. Come on, like.
And speaking of other underachieving Florida teams, Miami played. Well, listeners, Miami played yesterday. For us, Miami plays in 2 days on Thursday. I'm very interested to see how they play against Virginia at home on a Thursday night. Like, I'm very curious to see, is Miami up for that? It's going to be a quiet night at Hard Rock. Who knows how it is?
And is it not a quiet night at Hard Rock?
Bang, bang! Tyler from the top rope. You love to see it. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting week for games this week. It's stacked lineup, dude. Stacked lineup. There is always going to be a game on that'll interest you this week. Yeah, and it's very front loaded too. It's like noon, 2:30, 3:30, 7, and then you go to the Gator game at 6. So looking great. Tyler, it seems like we are running out of time. I know this was a shorter episode. The score to date, by the way, I have 20 points. You have 15. So let's see if you can make up some ground on that Arkansas game and in Nevada, Boise State, because everything else we picked the same. So we're going to be equal there. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Nope. Looking forward to another great week. There's a stacked lineup this week, so there's always going to be something on to interest you. There's so many games I'm interested in. Hopefully we get some shakeups this year. It's only 4 weeks in, but this year is primed for some shakeups now.
Absolutely. So Shades of 2007.
Shades of 2007. I'm excited.
I am very excited. It's going to be a fun week. Can't wait to see it. I would love to be wrong on this Georgia pick. I would love for Arkansas to win. I would love for Ole Miss to win. I would love it. I would just love the chaos.
Yeah.
But what I need is a Cincinnati Bearcats W.
That's what
Let's get this dub. That's a requirement for happiness this weekend. We need this dub.
Man, you're going to be so upset if Notre Dame wins.
I really, dude. Oh man, you know what? I want to end this on a happy note. I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about my Cincinnati Bearcats and their single-digit secondary. All right, that's what I'm thinking about.
That's the good stuff.
And that's what I'll sign the show off with, Tyler. This has been another episode of Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And we are not biased, Tyler, but go Gators and go Bearcats.
Yeah.